Bel Nemeki, meaning let me praise the Lord of Wisdom, presents a different aspect of Marduk's nature. Often compared to the biblical story of Job, this composition depicts Marduk as both a benevolent and destructive deity, capable of granting or withholding aid. The poem follows a sufferer's trials and eventual redemption by Marduk, illustrating the god's complex relationship with humanity. Unlike the grand cosmic scale of the Enuma Elish, this text offers a more personal, introspective portrayal of Marduk, emphasizing themes of suffering, divine justice, and redemption. Marduk's genealogy and syncretisms further reveal his intricate role in the pantheon. Early on, he was associated with Asaluhi, the god of incantations, and Tutu, the patron deity of Borsippa. Despite some early sources distinguishing Asaluhi and Marduk as separate entities, they eventually merged, strengthening Marduk's ties to Eridu and Enki's traditions. Marduk is traditionally identified as the son of Enki, emphasizing his lineage within the Eridu pantheon. His wife, Sarpanet, and son, Nabu, further cement Marduk's familial ties in Babylonian religion, with Nabu eventually becoming his co-regent. Marduk's primary cult center was Babylon, which rose to become the religious and political center of Mesopotamia. His main temple, Esigil, meaning temple whose top is raised, stood alongside Etemenanki, the towering ziggurat that inspired the biblical Tower of Babel. During the New Year's festival, rituals at the Akitu house involved recitations of the Enuma Elish before Marduk's statue, symbolizing his authority over creation and kingship. Marduk's worship was not confined to Babylon alone. He was also venerated in other cities like Sippar, Borsippa, and Nippur, though his influence in Assyria remained limited. The historical record of Marduk begins to solidify during the Old Babylonian period, reflecting his growing importance, especially in northern and central Babylonia. His status continued to rise throughout the second millennium BCE, notably under the Kassite dynasty, which adopted Babylon as its capital. The invasion of Babylonia by the Elamites led to the capture of Marduk's divine statue, which was eventually retrieved by Nebuchadnezzar I of the second dynasty of Isin, marking a pivotal moment in Babylonian religious history. The Neo-Babylonian period saw Marduk and Babylon at their peak, with monumental architecture, such as the Ishtar Gate, further symbolizing his divine supremacy. Marduk's iconography is characterized by the spade, his primary symbol, and the Mushusu, a snake dragon often depicted in Babylonian art. The spade was already associated with him during the Old Babylonian period, while the Mushusu became prominent in later representations, such as the glazed brick reliefs of Babylon. Few anthropomorphic depictions of Marduk exist, with most found on cylinder seals. The etymology of Marduk's name remains debated. Written logographically as Dia-Mar-Ud, it means calf of the sun. Marduk's identity is firmly tied to Enki's tradition, emphasizing his association with wisdom, creation, and cosmic order. Additionally, he was symbolically linked to the number 50, representing his usurpation of Enlil's position as the head of the pantheon. His name evolved through various linguistic forms, including Maru Tuak in Akkadian and Merodach in biblical texts, further illustrating his far-reaching influence across cultures and eras. In the interpretation of ancient alien ideas and theories, Marduk is not exactly a god to be worshipped with statues and reverence. He was a god to be recognized as a being, and not just a statue. Being the son of Enki, Marduk was the heir of Enki, who was the son of Anu, the supreme god of the heavens. It's interesting to observe, and here we have an excellent topic of study for those interested in biblical parallels and the assembly of the historical puzzles surrounding our past, that in the Bible, Yahweh proclaims the downfall of Marduk, known as Merodach in those texts. In Jeremiah, it reads, The word which Yahweh spoke concerning Babylon, concerning the land of the Chaldeans, by means of Jeremiah the prophet. Tell among the nations and announce it. Lift up a banner. Announce it. Do not suppress it. Say, Babylon is seized. Bel is put to shame. Merodach is dismayed. Her fetishes are put to shame. Her idol clods are dismayed. Ninurta, also known as Ningirsu in earlier Sumerian tradition, is a prominent deity in Mesopotamian mythology associated with agriculture, healing, warfare, and law. As the son of Enlil, Ninurta's maternal lineage varies depending on the myth. In Lugal-e, his mother is Ninmah, renamed Ninhursag, while in Angim-Dimma, Ninlo is identified as his mother. Ninurta's consort is usually the healing goddess Gula, though in his Ningirsu form, he is paired with Bao, a deity primarily worshipped in Lagash. Initially, Ninurta was revered as a god of farming and healing, believed to cure sickness and repel demons. However, as Mesopotamia's focus shifted toward militarization, he evolved into a warrior god while retaining his agricultural attributes. His primary cult center was the Eshumesha temple in Nippur, but he was also deeply associated with Lagash, where King Budaya of Lagash rebuilt his temple, the Emimu, around 2144 to 2124 BCE. Ninurta later gained favor with the Assyrians, who honored him as a fierce protector, a guarantor of oaths and punishments for violators. In the epic Lugal-e, Ninurta battles the demon Asak, using his enchanted mace, Sharur, and reshapes the landscape by creating mountains from the stones of the vanquished warriors, channeling the rivers for irrigation. This narrative combines his roles as both a warrior and an agricultural deity. In another significant myth, Ninurta confronts the Anzu bird, a creature that steals the Tablet of Destinies from Enlil, disrupting the divine order. Ninurta's eventual victory restores cosmic balance, reinforcing his position as a defender of divine authority. The tale, popular among Assyrian scholars, illustrates Ninurta's bravery and loyalty to his father, Enlil. Ninurta's association with agriculture is also evident in the Sumerian Georgica, a text that offers detailed guidance on farming practices, from planting and tending crops to pest control. This blend of martial and agrarian traits is a key aspect of Ninurta's character, underscoring his versatility as both a nurturer and a destroyer. The god's symbols include a plow, a perched bird, and possibly the winged disc, which some scholars speculate was initially associated with Ninurta before being linked to Ashur and Utu Shamash. In astrological terms, Ninurta was identified with Mercury in the Mal.Apinkama, a Babylonian astronomical compendium, though he was later associated with Saturn, while Mercury became linked to Nabu. Ninurta also held potential inspiration for the biblical Nimrod, the mighty hunter of Genesis, due to shared attributes of strength and hunting prowess. The ruins of Kalhu, where Ninurta's temple once stood, were later known in Arabic as Namrud, further supporting the connection between the deity and Nimrod. Ninurta's importance in Assyrian royal ideology is evident from the names of several kings, such as Tukulti Ninurta I and Adad Nirari II, who attributed their military successes to Ninurta's favor. Ninurta's role as a supporter of the Assyrian kings continued through the 9th century BCE, as seen in Ashurnasirpal II's inscriptions, crediting him for victories and dedicating his exploits to the god. Even after Kalhu ceased to be the Assyrian capital, Ninurta remained a respected deity, with legal documents invoking him as a guarantor of oaths and punishments for violators. Ninurta's is often depicted in stone reliefs, such as those from the temple at Kalhu, showing him in combat, especially against the Anzu bird. His mythological narratives, like Ninurta's exploits, emphasize his strength, strategic skills, and organizational abilities, as he not only defeats enemies, but also reshapes the physical world to benefit humanity.